Hi, welcome to another episode of the Naina Redhu experience. I am answering the questions I got on last Monday, which is the 22nd of June, and I'm posting it today. I'm really sorry about the delay, and I will also be posting yesterday's AMA answers in the next episode of the podcast, which I should be able to do today itself or maximum by tomorrow. So let's get started. How do you differentiate between positive criticism and unwanted advice? This was my answer. Criticism has two definitions. The expression of disapproval of someone or something on the basis of perceived faults or mistakes. So you have to remember, it is someone else's perception. And the analysis and judgment of the merits and faults of a literary or artistic work. Now, if you talk about art, I think it's super subjective. If someone's criticizing it, they're not buying it. It's okay. I know a lot of people say that it's better at least someone's talking about it, but I don't think that's how real life works. Negative publicity still is negative. I think you should be taking feedback. Don't look at it as criticism. You should be taking feedback from people who matter, people who have been in the arena, people who have been in the same field as you, people who have busted their balls doing the things that you do. And if they are telling you that there is something that you could be doing better, it's very likely that they will give you feedback in a very professional and polite way. Usually the kind of criticism we get online is from people who have nothing to do with what we do, are just random internet strangers. And the best way to take advice from random internet strangers is don't. Just don't. So obviously criticism is usually negative. You should be looking at it as feedback. That's different. Okay, rarely will you find someone critiquing you or your work unless they themselves are invested in you, your work, your growth, or the subject or the industry. If you've paid them for their advice, if their previous advice has been helpful, if they are known to you, if they have been through the same things that you are going through, then consider their advice with a pinch of salt. If it's an internet stranger, ignore them entirely. Always recommend a book by Brené Brown. It's called Daring Greatly. It will give you an actual practical solution to how you can decide to take feedback, who are the people you should be taking feedback from, who you should be allowing yourself to be vulnerable with. So I highly recommend it, Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. Alright, next question. How do you focus between your different ventures? My answer was, I could do better in this department. For now, I'm forced to consider the possibility that my photography career might never recover from COVID-19. So, I have more time to focus on hand-painted brooches and workshops. Simple equation. How many workshops? How many participants or subjects without diluting my brand should I do in a year so that I can earn enough to cover my cost of doing business? By the way, cost of doing business, CODB, is a great way to get started if you want to understand how you should be pricing your services or your products. So, how many workshops should I do in a year so that I can earn enough to cover my cost of doing business? Same for brooches. How many do I have to sell in a year and then work backwards and invest time accordingly? It works the same for every product, service or brand. If you have employee salaries to pay, if you have rent to pay, whatever expenses you have, if you're not even covering those expenses, you need to do those things, and which is how you prioritize what are the things you want to do. Luckily, I get to do the things that I really enjoy doing because those were the choices I made early on and those are the things I wanted to do. So, there you go. Okay, next question. Can you share something about Twitter as a social media platform? My answer, like any other platform, it is great if we know how to put it to use. I see it as more geared towards sharing expertise or positioning yourself as an expert. Sharing news about you or your brand, getting newsletter subscribers, engaging in longer text discussions which are visible publicly, reaching out to other experts in your industry and engaging with them. I haven't sold anything via Twitter, but I have had people visit my blog, download desktop wallpapers and appreciate my photography over the years. Depending on a brand's target audience, if it includes young people, those will rarely be found on Twitter. Your Twitter feed can be highly customized, which is not possible on any other social media platform. Don't want to see anything related to Trump? You can mute the word Trump, and even if someone you know tweets about him, you won't see it. You want a chronological feed? You got it. I am never going to quit Twitter. Obviously, it's a little bit biased because I'm supposed to be like the first person from India who joined Twitter, like ever. I was the 140th person who signed up to Twitter when it was released. Yeah, those were the crazy old days of the, all these social media networks starting off online. All right, next question. Will an Instagram blog work as well as a WordPress blog? My answer: Instagram is not a blogging platform. It is a social networking service / app. An Instagram page is not a blog. Writing Instagram captions is not blogging. At best, you can call it microblogging. Blogging is a much larger activity than simply posting on Instagram. If you have an Instagram page, technically you don't own it. You have very little control over it. If you have your own website / blog, you own all of what you produce and post. It is always better to have a website and blog and then a presence on a handful of leading social media networks. So the way it works with me especially is that I am totally blog focused. For me, it is my journey. It is my press release, if you want to say it. I don't reach out to PR agencies, for example. I don't think I've had an opportunity to really do that. But if someone wants to know about me and they genuinely are interested in who I am and what I do, they can just come to my blog, search for keywords, and it's got 16 years worth of content. The way I talk, it links to my YouTube channel, it links to my Instagram. Every time I do a blog post, everything flows out from my blog and goes on to all these other social media networks. I use a scheduling tool called CoSchedule. And, if my blog post has like 30 photographs, for example, then one photograph goes out every 3 days. I have like a 90-day campaign. Sorry about that. So for me, it's always blog first and then social media, because whatever work I do, I prefer documenting it first on my blog and then of course sharing it with everybody on all these other platforms, and that's how it works with me. So cool, thank you for listening. I have a couple of topics that I plan to talk about as part of my regular podcast, which is not the Naina's Monday Ask Me Anything series. And coming soon, they're related to the current situation, they're related to obviously work, etc. I've also been doing workshops on how to build your brand online. I've also announced a workshop on smartphone photography basics. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of stuff that will come out from there, common questions that a lot of people have, which I plan to address in my podcast. So if you have not been able to attend any of my free webinars, you don't want to attend my paid stuff, there's always this podcast and this YouTube channel, and I've got a lot of stuff to share from my experiences over the last 16 years. Thanks for listening, and if you're on YouTube, thanks for watching. Bye!